ring. I feel like it'll be a little entertaining. I don't know how long he's gonna last in with these big shots coming at him, but hey, only time will tell. You know, I'm not here to hype that shit. Not even my business. That's somebody else fish to fry.
Yeah.
You know, I got my own fish to fry.
Terence Crawford is not going to do anything to Canelo Alvarez. Terence Crawford, yes, he's good. He's a 4-division world champion, 2-division undisputed, but he couldn't even hurt Major.
Is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills.
Jermell Charlo broke down why he believes Canelo Alvarez has the edge over Terence Crawford. For him, the biggest factor is whether Crawford can withstand Canelo's heavy shots for 12 rounds. Charlo pointed out that Crawford is already moving up multiple weight classes, making the task even more difficult. Analysts note that Crawford couldn't seriously hurt Madrimov, who is nowhere near Canelo's level. While Crawford's dominant performance against Errol Spence proved his greatness, Charlo argued this is an entirely different challenge. Canelo is not only a legend with years of activity at the top level, but also younger, stronger, and more dangerous, making him Crawford's toughest test yet.
They never got in the ring with anything like a Terence Crawford. They never got in the ring with a former champion, with an elite fighter. He couldn't hurt. He couldn't hurt Major. Canelo Alvarez is no Earl Spence, ladies and gentlemen. I know that some of y'all are hyped because what Terence Crawford did an incredible performance, an incredible job versus Earl True Spence that was supposed to be the big fish, and he turned the big fish into tuna fish on your outline, on your local supermarket. Canelo Alvarez is not Earl Spence. Canelo Alvarez is not Amina Khan. Canelo Alvarez is not Cobra. Canelo Alvarez is not Gamboa. Canelo Alvarez is not Felix Diaz. Canelo Alvarez is not Sean Porter. Canelo Alvarez is none of those guys, ladies and gentlemen. Canelo Alvarez is none of those guys. Canelo Alvarez is not the media machine. Canelo Alvarez is Canelo Alvarez, regarded as one of the greats, and not just the Mexican greats. I don't like how y'all like try to put it. Oh no, he's the best Mexican, because you don't want to say that he's one of the greatest that ever lived. Canelo Alvarez is one of the greatest that ever lived. Has carried the sport of boxing on his shoulder. Let me say it like this, leading up to the fight, Canelo Alvarez is more active than Terence Crawford. Canelo Alvarez is more seasoned than Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is more seasoned than Terence Crawford. He's younger than Terence Crawford. He's more active than Terence Crawford. His resume is better than Terence Crawford. The people that he's fought is better than Terence Crawford. He's fought every damn style. He's fought the best Russians at the time with Kovalev. He fought the best Asian in Kazakhstan and Triple G.
Former world champion Kell Brook also favors Canelo in this matchup, explaining that Alvarez is unlike anyone Crawford has ever faced. While Crawford's win over Spence was historic, Brook stressed it does little to prepare him for Canelo's unique skill set. With unmatched strength, higher weight experience, and the ability to dictate fights against elite opponents, Canelo poses a threat far greater than Spence. Brook believes Crawford has yet to encounter a fighter with Canelo's mix of power, IQ, and ring control, making this one of the most difficult challenges of Crawford's career.
You've got to sway towards Canelo. Crawford's going to have to, move up, and, I knew when I bought Golovkin, there's a big difference, especially with someone that, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion is okay. But when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo, but, Crawford's very, very, very good.
You think Crawford's still got the legs? Obviously, he's very much got great IQ in the ring, but he's very much a good mover as well. Do you feel like he's still got the legs to be maybe out-moving Canelo if he needs to?
Well, I don't know. I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. It's like he's more, he kind of sets his feet. He's cute with how he approaches, chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather.
several analysts have raised concerns that Crawford may simply be too small to hurt Canelo effectively. Jumping nearly 3 weight classes with limited experience above 154, they argue, is a massive risk. Comparisons were made to Floyd Mayweather, who faced a string of elite opponents before taking on Canelo, whereas Crawford has only had Madrimov at that level. Gabe Rosado added that fighters accustomed to facing true punchers at higher weights are rarely fazed by shots from smaller divisions. This raises doubts about whether Crawford can keep Canelo honest with his power.
I think that Crawford may be too small to really impact and hurt Canelo Alvarez. He's moving up pretty much 3 weight classes, which is exactly what I said. I'm not counting 154. He had 1 fight, bro. He had 1 fight. Floyd Mayweather got more fights at 54 than Terence Crawford. Woo! Because Crawford, he fought Madrimov. Floyd fought De La Hoya, Cotto, and then he fought Canelo at 152. So you had an aging Floyd who fought more times at the higher weight class, and Bud looks to be a bigger dude than Floyd Mayweather, right? So when Floyd was 37, he moved to 52 and fought a much bigger Canelo. Crawford's 37, he fighting Madrimov with 11 fights. Not the same. It's not. I don't care what y'all talking about. The Bud Buddy's just gonna have to be mad at me because truth is truth. So that's a valid question. And again, I'll be glad when this fight's over, put it that way. I don't care who wins. May the best man win. I hope it's a double knockout. I already told y'all. Just because I'm just over it, and I want to get back to some of the other fights. There's other fights that are interesting, and they make more sense. Like Brian Norman, Devin Haney. I'm interested in Yard versus Benavidez, etc. There's some fights we're hearing about, blah, blah, blah. So I'll be glad when this is over, to be 100% honest. There's more fights that actually fans have been requesting and that matter, blah, blah, blah. But Rosado, he brought up a lot of good points. He was saying Crawford, he thinks he's too small, and he even gave his own personal experience. He said, I'm 180, 190 solid, and when I fight guys that are welterweights, even if they crack and they're known for being menacing, murderous punchers, at the lower weight classes, 140, 147, them moving up, it feels like pillows when they fight me. When I get hit with their punches, it feels like pillows because I'm used to getting hit by triple. Right? He used to Triple G work. He used to Lemieux work. So to me, this is kind of common sense, but common sense ain't that common, right?
Analysts continue to focus on one decisive question: can Crawford handle Canelo's power? Alvarez's punching ability has stopped or neutralized countless opponents over the years. While some critics dismiss Canelo as flat-footed, experts argue his style is calculated, built on balance, timing, and efficiency. By planting his feet, he maximizes the power of every shot. Crawford's slick defense and movement might allow him to evade punches for stretches, but Canelo's patience means he eventually finds openings. When that happens, the real test will be whether Crawford can stay composed under heavy fire. Many experts believe the fight won't just be about who lands more punches, but whether Crawford's chin and body can withstand Canelo's punishment.
Is Crawford going to be able to take Canelo's punches? And is Canelo going to be skilled enough to not keep on getting banged up by Crawford and his craftiness? It's the battle of two greats, you know what I mean? So I believe that Canelo, you really see him, when you see him fight, he almost got a one-way of style, and it works for him. He likes to get in there and bang you up. He likes to throw hard punches. He likes to break you down. He likes to hit you everywhere. You're gonna hit in your body, your arms, the forehead, the ear, the neck. Wherever he can land a good one, he's gonna land it. And that usually breaks him down. So with some fighters, I see is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of he does basic, I would say. he has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills. He does everything almost like perfect. But yeah, he's flat-footed, but you gotta realize that he also has hell of a head movement and body movement. He understands and he's perfected at rolling with the punch thing.
Crawford's dismantling of Errol Spence is remembered as one of the most dominant performances in boxing history. That night, he displayed the full package: speed, accuracy, timing, defense, and ruthless finishing ability. He took apart a fighter once regarded as the best welterweight in the world and made it look easy, cementing himself as one of this generation's greats. Now, those closest to him insist Crawford looks even sharper in training than he did before the Spence fight. They highlight his speed, reflexes, and conditioning as being at their peak, with a more refined focus than ever. At 36, Crawford may be older, but many believe he is in the best form of his career, a confidence boost he'll need against a dangerous opponent like Canelo.
Sharper than ever, more dangerous than ever, and most importantly, he looks like the greatest version of himself. Now, can we actually believe this? Can Terence Crawford at nearly 39 years old, with him being inactive, with him being heavier than ever, is it possible that the man will actually look better than ever? Now, let's think about it, ladies and gentlemen. When you're talking about someone like Terence Crawford or Canelo Alvarez, you're talking about the elite of the elite. And if I'm gonna be honest, Terence Crawford, when he fought Errol Spence, in my opinion, in all my years of watching combat sports, I'm a MMA guy turned into boxing. But I have never, ever in my life watched an elite championship fight and had my jaw absolutely drop to the floor with the greatness that I witnessed. And that is the only way to describe what Terence Crawford did versus Errol Spence. In my opinion, that was the greatest performance in our lifetime. I mean, I can't go back to the old days, I'm not a historian. But as far as I'm concerned, that was the greatest performance I have ever seen in my life. And especially to who he did it to, Errol Spence. Dangerous southpaw at the time. I believe he was pound for pound number 3. And Terence Crawford absolutely annihilated him.
Former middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik shared his strategic insight on how Crawford could pull off the upset against Canelo. Pavlik emphasized the importance of the early rounds, stressing that Crawford cannot allow Canelo to dictate the tempo. Instead, he must rely on his footwork, combinations, and ring IQ to force Canelo into working harder than usual. The strategy is straightforward: make Canelo throw more punches, move his feet, and chase the fight. Pavlik explained that Canelo has shown signs of slowing in the later stages of long battles, and this is where Crawford's opportunity lies. By pushing the pace early, Crawford could drain Canelo's energy, reduce his late-round explosiveness, and create a path to either outpoint him or force a late stoppage.
Stay in Canelo's ass a little early on, put Canelo behind, right? Even if it's 3 out of the first 4 rounds, because when Canelo has to fight, okay, when Canelo has to step it up, after 7 rounds, he starts to fade a little bit. We've seen that with Bivol, we've seen it in a lot of his fights with Triple G. You know, when Canelo could control the fight and the ring generalship, like, yeah, he could fight 12 rounds pretty good. But when Canelo gets pushed early on in the fight, he starts to fade muscle endurance-wise. So if I was Crawford, I would kind of stay in his ass a little bit on, the early rounds and make him have to play catch-up in the rounds 3, 4, 5. And then by round 7, that's where, he can really step it up.
Boxing journalist Dan Rafael offered an important perspective when comparing the two fighters' experiences. He noted that Canelo has already faced and absorbed shots from smaller men moving up in weight, fighters like Floyd Mayweather, Amir Khan, and Miguel Cotto. While naturally lighter, these opponents tested Canelo's speed, timing, and adaptability, and he proved capable of handling them. Crawford, however, has not yet faced a naturally bigger opponent with Canelo's size and physicality. Although Crawford has dominated across divisions, Rafael argued that stepping up against someone who is truly comfortable at higher weights is an entirely different challenge. This experience gap, he suggested, could give Canelo a decisive advantage.
Dan Raphael kind of made a great point when talking about sizes. Because he said, if you look at them two together now, they look the same size. He said, people have got the idea of the size thing wrong. It's not looking at them as a physical package. It's who has absorbed the bigger shots in the weight division. So, and it was good. It was a very good point. It was like Canelo has been hit by light heavyweights and super middleweights for the better part of a decade.
Basically,
he's so used to taking those shots, whereas Crawford hasn't. Crawford's been hit by 140 guys and 147 guys for the best part of a decade.
Yeah.
What's Crawford going to be like? So basically, he's trying to say, Canelo could easily absorb Crawford shots. Can Crawford easily absorb Canelo's punches?
If you're taking shots from Triple G, Sergey Kovalev, Dmitry Bivol, and you're staying on your feet, not getting hurt,
not even getting wobbled,
just literally shaking it off, you can take Terence Crawford shots.
100%.
Mikey Garcia has been blunt in his prediction, stating that Canelo has the power to seriously hurt Crawford. While acknowledging Crawford's elite skills, Garcia argued that his defense alone may not be enough to withstand the raw force of Canelo's punches. He pointed specifically to Canelo's body attack, devastating hooks to the ribs and crushing uppercuts to the midsection that has broken down countless opponents. According to Garcia, Crawford is a brilliant technician, but brilliance only goes so far when facing a fighter with such overwhelming strength at a higher weight. For Garcia, the danger is clear. Once Canelo lands clean, the momentum could shift instantly, putting Crawford in real jeopardy.
What happens when he takes a shot from Canelo? One of those uppercuts from Munguia or those...
He could get dropped, or he feels it enough to be like, fuck this, I'm boxing. And he goes on the bicycle and turns southpaw for the rest of the night. And I wouldn't blame him either. Fuck it, you're gonna go in there and collect the fucking paycheck at that point.
Right.
You're not gonna go get hurt.
Right.
What good is it to get fucking 20, 30 million if you are fucking hurt physically, end up in the hospital and hurt just physically, life-changing, you don't want that shit.
You think Canelo can hurt him?
Sure, he's not big, fool. One punch could fucking knock him out bad enough to hurt his eye socket or detach retina. You never fucking know. No one wants that shit.
Crawford said if he beats him, he's in the top 3 GOATs of all time.
Oh, for sure. If Crawford beats Canelo, then for sure, he'll motherfucking props in the world, bro. And he actually does have a chance. It's not like he doesn't have a chance. Don't be too surprised if he fucking pulls it off in the decision.
On the other hand, Antonio took a more optimistic stance on Crawford's chances, focusing on his mental preparation. He explained that Crawford is known for visualizing fights long before he steps into the ring, already rehearsing how to respond to the challenges his opponent presents. Antonio believes Crawford's greatest weapon is his adaptability, his ability to read, adjust, and gradually dismantle opponents. Unlike others who rely heavily on physical advantages, Crawford has built his legacy on intelligence and versatility. From Antonio's perspective, this fight will not simply be about weight classes, but about skill sets. If Crawford executes his plan effectively, his boxing IQ could neutralize Canelo's size and power.
Terence gotta be Terence, bro. He's a real deep thinker. He processed fights like nobody else. And he's processed this Canelo fight. He's seen it. He went through it 2 or 3 times already. He knows how this ends. You can tell the way he shadow boxes. He visualizing Canelo being right there in front of him. You understand? Look at the movement. That's all you got to do. Look at the movement. And that's the type of master boxer that Canelo is going to be facing. And the only thing I say is Canelo hasn't faced an opponent like this in a long time. You know what I mean? I think Canelo's going to have to go back to the Caleb Plant fight and look that good, that active, that, you feel me, moving with that type of grace to beat Terence Crawford. Because weight ain't going to make the difference. It ain't going to be the weight. It's going to be the skill set.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more insights, analysis, and updates.